Hello everyone, it's Melanie. I have a little bit different of a video today. Hadn't made one in a long time. I need to get back in the routine. Welcome to all my new subscribers. I've noticed I have a lot of new subbies. So welcome to my channel. I'm kind of a sporadic videoer, but maybe you find something that is inspiring to you. So let me tell you what I'm doing. If you've been with me for a while, you know I keep these composition book journals. And I journal chronologically. Maybe that has to do with the fact that I came from, journaling in notebook or, like journals, blank journals back in the 80s and 90s. But I also like doing, these really junky kind of things. So I thought I would take a break from my composition book journals and do a different kind of journal. So this is a journal that I had made not too terribly long ago, and I started this one on August 10th. So I was going to basically, everything that would have gone in my composition journal was going to go in this journal, and then I was going to see how I like it and then maybe go back, do another composition book journal. Well, I think I made it about 7 days, and then I started this because I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it. I missed my composition book journals so bad. So then I was journaling simultaneously in this one, which I was using. Sometimes I just duplicated stuff. I was just using it more with the pockets, and anyway, so I was using both at the same time. And then I decided I wanted a journal where I was going to write even more personal stuff. So this is a Namiki 7 Seas writer. This is the Tomeo River paper from Japan. That's this really thin paper, but you can write on it and paint on it. You can write on it with fountain pen ink. And I adore, I love writing in here. So this has kind of turned into my writing journal. So now at this point, I'm working in all 3 of these journals simultaneously, and it's driving me crazy. So this one I noticed this morning, I only had a few pages, like less than 10 pages left in the back of this one volume 15. So I thought, you know what? It's September 30th. Today is September 30th. So I'm going to finish this journal out. This one's I'm going to finish up. So I've just been going through literally kind of my trash can and finding stuff to stick in here. So I'm going to finish this one today and call it done for September 30th. And then I want to start a new journal. I had made this one, which I thought was going to be a combination of, a junk journal like this, and but it's the same size and it's made out of a composition book cover, so it could go on the shelf with all my other composition books. So now I can't decide if I actually want to work on this and do both of these at the same time, because this is kind of like my personal thoughts, and then this can be where I put pictures and things like that. So I haven't quite decided, but either way, I'm going to finish this one out today. I'm going to keep going in this one until it's full, because it's kind of serving me a different purpose. But then I was looking at this one. So there's just something about the fact that this one is now chronologically in the mix with these. So I had an idea, and that's what I'm going to show you now that I'm 4 minutes into this video. Okay, these pages in this journal that I made are almost exactly the right size for a composition book. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to take the signatures in here that I have used, which is 4 of them, I think. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4 signatures that I've already used. It has 3 other signatures. I'm going to take these out and I want to put them in a composition book cover so that I can put it on the shelf with all my other journals, because this just kind of doesn't fit on the shelf with them. And then, you know, if somebody ever wanted to look at my composition book journals in chronological order, there'd be this gap because I was working in different journals. So I'm going to take these pages out, transfer them to a composition book, and then I'll make some new pages for this journal and do something else with it. I love that about making journals this way, you know, with the exposed spine and stuff, is that you can just cut the signature out and put it somewhere else. So I have this journal that I had done up, and then but I didn't test the paper first. This one's really old. And I hate the paper. This paper is terrible in here. So I kind of thought I could use this, take it apart and use this cover, since this cover is already done. But as I sat here and did that, I started thinking, if I do that, then my signatures would be attached here, and I don't necessarily want the stitching to show. So I think this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to prep this empty cover, and then I'm going to take all 4 of the signatures that I want out of this, bind them in here. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm kind of thinking, this is a piece of Tyvek house wrap. I think I'm going to put this down. And then, let's see, this is a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. So I'm going to need to use the same binding holes in these signatures that I did. I'll need to use these same holes in this book. But I think I want to reinforce the spine with this. So let me do that real quick. So I hope everyone is healthy and maybe some semblance of normal life is coming back together. I feel like, honestly, I feel like I've been on the front row of the struggle bus every day. Okay, so I'm going to put this down. I usually don't, this particular Tyvek, I hope that glue holds it. This particular Tyvek is kind of noisy. It's even noisier. This is like this kind of stuff that you wrap your house with when you're building it before you put the brick or the final or whatever on the outside of it. But I'm going to put something over that too. So I don't need pockets in the front or back. So I think I'm just going to cover this, just cover the whole inside of this cover with something. Let's see. I could do just a combination of scraps, scrapbook paper scraps, paper scraps in general. Could do something like that. I'd like to cover something that's just this big. Oh! What about a piece of wallpaper? Because the other journal, the inside of this journal is floral. So a piece of wallpaper would be big enough to cover the whole inside of that. This is out of a wallpaper sample book. So I think this is big enough. Yes! So now I just need to cover the inside, glue this to this, and then I can trim around it. That is a lot of glue. Do I want to use something else instead of using so much of my glue stick? Sorry, I'm thinking. I'm just going to use glue stick because I love the way it holds. And I love that it's not wet so it dries almost instantly. So I'm just going to cover this whole thing, the inside, with my favorite glue, which is the Scotch Create glue stick. And I'll still need to do the cover. Make something for the cover. I was thinking maybe something either the same or similar to the other composition book journal that I was working on at the same time. Okay. And it doesn't matter if this is perfectly lined up, but it is going to shift once I close the book. So I need to make sure it's really on here tight. Or, you know, that it's got glue everywhere. And I'll sew with these just like I usually do. I'll sew around the outside edge of this. I don't know if I'm going to put a transparency on it, because the reason that I put a transparency on the front of my other journals is that I usually collage on the cover. Like this has actual lace behind it. So I like doing that, and then there's all these different pieces, and I can carry it with me, put it in my bag, and the front never gets messed up. So that's the purpose. That's why I've used the transparency. But this one will be complete as soon as I finish it, and I won't need to ever carry it around. So in that case, it probably doesn't need a transparency on the front. I'm just going to cut all the way around this. I kind of do this often. Taking of books that I've bound or made, taking them apart and redoing them, or replacing the pages, or putting them in a different journal. So that means that when I stitch these signatures in, I will be stitching through what's left of the cover, because I noticed it was kind of splitting. The cover, a piece of Tyvek, and a piece of wallpaper. So I'm going to assume that that is going to hold it in place. Ooh, I'm excited about this because it's really been bugging me working in multiple journals at the same time. That goes to the scrap bin. Okay, so then I've got to take, that can dry a little bit more. Well, I should probably do the cover first, because I don't want to bind it after I've, okay. So that means I need a cover for this. I need to do a cover for this one. This is a bunch of scrapbook paper that I pulled because I really like it. Oh, I like this. It's pink too. Okay, this is it. So I'll just mark this where I want to cut it. Somebody's weed eating. That would figure. So there doesn't, I don't necessarily, the cover doesn't have any reference to the date of the journal. I usually put that inside the on the front page, the first page. It has, you know, the dates that the journal comprises. Did I cut this upside down? Yeah, I think I did. That's okay. I can just trim this, because this edge will get hidden under the book tape that I put on the spine. But I've also been putting my initials. I kind of started doing this after a while, putting my initials or my name on the cover. So that's what I'll do with this one. I'll just put my initials or something on the cover. And I usually cut whatever I'm covering it with just a tiny bit smaller, because I don't mind being able to see the original composition book cover under there, because it is a composition book, and I don't know, I kind of like it. I kind of like some of it showing through. Maybe I will put a transparency on the front of this just so that it matches the other journals. Maybe I'll put this on the back, because I don't think I'll use any of that. So I'm going to trim this like right there and right there. So that'll go on the back. I think I've only put transparency on the back of one of these one time, and I didn't care for it, so I just keep the back just paper. But I do stitch around the edge, and if it's painted, hand painted or something, which I have some that are like that, or something that I printed, like one of my digitals, or then I put a coat of matte medium over the top of it to protect it. But I won't do anything to this one. I'm just going to leave it blank. I hope this works. I guess if it doesn't, I can always just put the pages back in the pink book. Okay, so I'll have to do the cover. Do I want to do a I guess I will do a transparency, just so trim it there and right there. Sorry, I keep going away for the cutter. It's behind me. And I've learned the hard way that my corner rounder does not work on this transparency film. So I just have to see it. Take the corner off my hand. So now I just need some initials or something on the front. Some letter. This isn't my usual video style. I usually have everything ready. Do I want to do my initials, or maybe I'll use this. because I'm not too fond of those, but it's going to be on the shelf. I don't necessarily have to look at it. Ooh, what about these? You see, ooh. Or I could do something like this. I think I've used those on there before. I've used those. Now I'm feeling really indecisive here. I'm gonna do those. Let me find something to put them on. This is some Project Life cards. See if there's one of these that would work. I was thinking something with just some pink on it. That might work. Yeah. You know, that would figure that somebody starts weed eating as soon as I make a video. Oh my goodness, I need to put that on the cover of every journal. Meh. Lately. Every 2020 journal needs that on the cover. Do I like this? No, I don't. What about that? I like that. So I was thinking I'll use this letter that's messed up because I'm going to glue it on and put the transparency over it, so it won't matter that it's torn, because then it'll get covered with the transparency. But I am going to put just a tiny touch of glue right there. If I can get my glue to come out. I don't have any idea. These are corrugated, these black letters. I don't have any idea how old these are. They don't really want to come off here. Well, that's off center. So, since that's off center, I probably need something to put here. Put my Flu Fighter sticker. I'm just looking for something to stick right there. A little sticker, or it needs to be kind of small. Ooh, a bow. It's very preppy. How about a flower? A rose. I like that one, but it's too big. There, that works. Now it doesn't matter that it's off center. Kind of pulls it back together. So I'm going to glue this on. Make sure it's straight. straight. So there's that. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch the transparency on before I do the binding. I was looking over here, the machine has some pale green thread in it that'll work. And the way I've been doing these so that for sewing around here, if I try sewing all 3 sides at once, it ends up puckering a little bit in the middle. So the way that I've found to not have that happen is I stitch across the top and down the side, and then I take it out of the machine and pull it super, super tight. Make sure that everything's really tight across the front, and then I stitch this side. I don't ever stitch this because I cover it with a tape, book tape. So I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if I need another, since this is just going to sit on the shelf, I'm not going to be carrying it around. I don't know that it needs another row of stitching. I think I'll just leave it. I'm going to stitch around the back though, just so that. So you may be thinking, how is she going to put 4 signatures into that composition book cover? It only has room for 1. Well, I was thinking that too. I think what I'm going to try, which is why I reinforced it really well, I think what I'm going to try is putting all 4 signatures through the same set of holes. So we'll see. It's definitely not too thick. It's these 4. I mean, it's not too thick. That'll be fine. You know, it'll fit in there just fine. So I've got to make sure that when I pull this out, it does not move, so that my holes all stay aligned. And of course, this is a small page right here, so it's not going to stay in place. I buy these plastic coated paper clips at the Dollar Tree, and they work out pretty well for holding my pages in place. Okay, because they're kind of grippy. So thank you, binding thread, you've done a great job for me. Okay, so there's signature number 1. I feel like I'm doing surgery. Another small one in the middle. And there's stuff in the pocket. I'm going to take that stuff out of the pocket for this. This to go here. Now there's kind of so there's the second signature, and then let me pin this one up. And it won't be any big deal to make some new signatures for this cover. And then I can just start it over. third signature, and this one's the last one. I'm going to take these out so they're not. And clip all this together. You know, I've thought about doing this with, I have a lot of journals that I've started and then I don't finish them. And they have a bunch of blank pages in the back. And I recently went through some of my old sketchbooks, like from high school and college, and tore out all the blank pages that were in the back of the book that I never used. I mean, I'm talking about sketchbooks that are 25, 30 years old. Because I'm not going to go back and draw in that, you know, because I want it to kind of stay true to that era, but I felt like that paper at the back of them was wasted, so I went through and tore it out. Okay, so there's this cover, and there's my markings. I'll just make 4 new signatures for this, and it will become something else. So now we see, is this actually going to work? It may, my throat is dry. It may stick out really far, but we're gonna make it, I'm gonna make it work. So let's see, I need to, you know what I need is a pair of glasses. Oh my goodness, I can see. So I'm gonna just use this, no, not that one. I'm gonna use this one. And mark my holes as close to the actual center of this as possible. So right there, right there, right there, right there, and right there. I also thought about maybe putting eyelets through it to strengthen the holes. But I don't think I'm gonna do that either. Okay, here's my punching book. And I'm gonna make sure, you know, I could punch those with my screw punch. Then they'd be a little cleaner. And I could do them just a tad bit larger, like a 2.5 millimeter hole. Or could I go up, I guess I could go up to a 3. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'll punch them with this. So they're nice, and this is full of stuff. Full of thick stuff. And the last time I used my screw punch, or punch drill is what it's actually called, where I bought it from. I bought this from John Neal Booksellers online. And I bought mine, I think the receipt is in there, but I bought mine years ago. And it's a little more expensive now, and it's not cheap. It's around $70, I think. But it comes, this one came with like 10 tips. And I am very, very big proponent on you get what you pay for. Just almost always you get what you pay for. So I didn't want to buy a punch and then have to buy another punch when that one dies, and then buy another punch, you know. So when I can afford it, I just buy the best of something that I can afford. And then I feel like it's a tool that I can have for life, pretty much. And that is one of those tools. I think I mean, I've never had any of those none of those tips have been or what am I trying to say? they're all still, all those tips are still sharp. I think I'm going to use this because it's quite strong. I just need 2 with a little bit of, and that's probably too, this is probably too big, but yeah, it is too big. How about that, baby? Woo! We'll use this. It may be bigger than the holes that are in the... Now, I've never done this. I've never tried putting... Maybe I need a different... Maybe this is too heavy to go through there so many times. Because actually, I guess, these 3 in a 5-hole pamphlet stitch, these 3 center holes for each signature will actually have thread going through it twice. So that means that in the end, with 4 signatures, it would have 8 strands of this going through each of these 3 holes and 4 going through these 2 holes. So I think that's too thick. I'm gonna need to find something really strong and thinner. Okay, here's what I've got. This is Coats & Clark button and carpet thread. It's very strong, and I'm pretty sure it's 74 polyester, 26 cotton. And then there's this one, which is 100% nylon. This is upholstery thread. My hesitation, honestly, with this nylon is that it's would be abrasive if it rubs on the, you know, through the holes, and it could tear through the paper. So I think I'm going to use this one. It's really thin, so I will say that I can't think of any other instance. Well, maybe I would. I don't know. I wouldn't usually use this to do a pamphlet stitch with. It's kind of fragile, or, you know, kind of. I just won't tie it too tight, so that maybe it's not putting pressure on the papers, on the pages. I think this will work, because I don't want it to break apart. Okay, so I'm going to take this off. That's the first one. I'm just going to clip it together. Just clip it together like that. Okay, so the second one, I'm going to go through the same holes. Sorry, I'm not saying anything. I'm out of practice making videos. Oh, I'm going to enjoy this. I'm gonna like it not being split up. Ooh, usually when you do pamphlet stitch, you have to make sure you don't pierce through the threads as you go through, but when you have multiple signatures in the same holes, you've got a lot of threads to make sure that you don't pierce. A bookbinding linen would also be a good choice for this task. Like this, this is a Londonderry linen bookbinding thread, but they're a lot more expensive, and I don't really want to. I don't want to waste them. So let's see here. But I think that bookbinding linen would be plenty strong. And it's a lot thinner. It's too pricey to use for what I'm doing. I'm not. Ow. So if you do this, if you take, you know, signatures out of one thing and put them somewhere else, I think the most important thing is to make sure that you've got the signature secure, clipped together and stuff, so that it doesn't shift until you know, for when you get it. And I personally, when I do this, I always make sure that I'm matching the original holes that I punched in the signature, that I'm not, I wouldn't punch a new set of holes, just because then in the, you know, the fold of the paper there, you would have, where is that coming from? Oh, it's this. Because there, and then you'd have, like, you know, if I didn't match these up or whatever, then I'd have a lot more holes in the center of my, in the fold and the crease, and it would kind of perforate it. It wouldn't be as strong. Ooh, way too much thread. Percy, that's my dog. He's whining because the other dog is laying too close to the edge of the bed, and he thinks he doesn't fit. So he wants her to move over. Oh, this is gonna be awesome. So I guess the lesson to myself is, for now, I'm going to keep journaling in my composition books until something changes, because now that I have a fairly, well, I'm on number 15. So now that I have a fairly large collection of them, I just want to keep going. Okay, this is the 4th signature, and now it's definitely getting harder to get these through. Which hole am I? This is the hole. It's harder now to get it through that single hole because I've pulled these other signatures tight up against here, so. But this is the last one, so it'll be okay. It's definitely harder to go through there and not pierce something when there's that many threads in there. And because these are in chronological order, that's why I couldn't just have stacked them inside one another and made one big signature, because then all the dates would be completely messed up. So that's why I needed it to stay in its 4 original signatures. Almost finished. Way too much thread again. All right. Ooh, it worked. It worked. So that one's kind of loose. Let's take all these out. Yeah, that last one's loose, really loose. I didn't pull it tight enough. Do I want to do it again? Well, I'm not going to mess with it on camera because I don't want to waste your time. There it is. Oh, they just, I mean, they're a little bit, see, they stick out a little bit, but luckily, too, the part that's sticking out is on the top. Okay, so one thing left, which is the covering the spine. And I think this one's 15. And instead of making this one 16, I mean, this one should actually be 15, and then this one's 16. Because this one started August 10th, and this one is mid-August. So I don't know what to call it. How about 15, I don't know, 15 with a small a on it or something. I don't know. This is Line Co. book tape. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? Let me mark. I want to mark this where I'm going to cut it. This stuff is super sticky, and it's a cloth tape. So I'm going to mark it like right there, okay? Because I've discovered that if I write on the tape before I put it on the book, it's much easier. So this tape is 2 inches wide, so I need to, no! I need to write right there. So it's gonna say that, okay, that's the center of the tape, so I actually want to write my letters centered on that. And this one's gonna be volume 15A. I don't know. Okay. And then I can trim. Oop. decided to cut into it. I still don't have a really great way to do this. I need to take a tiny bit off the top. So I just make sure that I'm covering that piece that I have on the back. But for this one in particular, I really, sorry, I'm having to put it between my body and the table. I want that volume 15A to end up right on the outside of the book. So I'm going to go right there. So that means that I'm holding on the back by covering that. And then I'm going to pull it I usually do this before I work in the book, so the book's not already bulky. Oh, that works. Okay. It's a little bit crooked, and I can just trim this off. So it doesn't stick. I'm going to need to clean my scissors soon with some Goo Gone. And then I'm going to burnish it down. This is a Teflon bone folder. And before I burnish this down, I'm going to erase that line, since my marker should be dry by now, but it doesn't want to erase. Okay, well, that pencil doesn't want to come off. Okay, success. It worked. Move these out of the way. And get this up. So, I took these pages out of this journal, moved them to this journal. So now this one is complete. This I'll make some new pages for, and I can use it for something else. And then this one I've got like 4 pages left to fill it up by the end of the day, and then it will be finished. So I'll just need to decide if I want to work in this one that I put together. It's got glue on the front. If I want to work in this one, which I used the Flourish, is that Maggie Holmes? I don't know. I used the Flourish kit to do this because I realized that Flourish is one of my favorite scrapbooking kits of all time. So I thought I'm just going to do a whole journal out of it. So I have this one I could use, or I have this one that I made a while back and then didn't use. This on the background, that's something I drew on my iPad, and then I put gold flakes in the paint that's on top of it has gold flakes, and then it has my name in raised gold letters, and then I put a big butterfly sticker on there. And this is actually nice paper from Vietnam, so I just have to decide which one I'm going to use next, this one or this one. And I'm going to keep writing in my 7 C's writer. If you guys are ever interested, I don't know if you are, I've been a fountain pen freak for years. And so this I've been writing in exclusively with my fountain pens, and it's really fun. So maybe you learned something. Thank you for watching. I hope you are all well, and I am going to, I was cleaning up my room, cleaning up my studio, so I'm going to keep cleaning, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.